Welcome back to All the Gear. Today on All the Gear, I'm going to show you how to make 36-hour infused gin using Juniper Berries, Coriander Seeds, Angelica Root, Cardamom Pods, citrus zest, and horseradish leaves or peppercorns. And this. This is clear spirit moonshine. Vodka, but I like to call it hooch. Now, there are many ways to obtain hooch. My recommendation would be distilling it yourself, but that's going to depend on the rules and regulations in your area. So first up, let's go and collect some of the fresh ingredients, and then I'll walk you through some of the spices we'll be using. This is horseradish, and I'm very excited to be using it for infusing into a gin. I'm quite interested to see how this turns out. And we can now get our next ingredient, which is pickling cucumber. So I'll just be using this for the cucumber in our recipe. Okay, so first things first, 4 jars. Now, to each of these, I'm going to add a slice of cucumber, except for one. I want to see how the cucumber affects the taste. The next fresh ingredient I'm going to be using is the horseradish, and because I'm not 100% how this is going to affect the flavor, to the one without, I'm going to actually add in 3 peppercorns. This is just going to substitute the hot flavor. So we'll put those in like so. Oh, they smell incredible. Okay, so to each of these 500 ml jars, we're going to add 16 grams of juniper berries. We are adding not much at all of Angelica Root. This is going to be like 0.3 of a gram, 0.35, and we're going to do that for each. It's really not much. It's like so potent. You can, oh, how do you describe it? It's very much an underrated part of gin, I think. Very earthy. If you haven't made gin with it, definitely give it a go. 4 grams of coriander seeds, these guys. Cardamom pods. So I'm going to be using just a single cardamom pod in each. 1. Dried orange zest. So just the outside of the orange peel. And I just dried this in the sun. You can use lemon if you like. I just don't have any ripe lemons at the moment. A piece into each of our jars. And there it is. That is all of our infusions ready to go. I'm just going to top them all up with alcohol. Hooch. This is 40% clear spirit hooch. And we can leave them for 36 hours. And I'm going to give them a bit of a shake. And just take a note of the color, because it will not be this color for long. So while we're waiting for the gin to infuse, let's quickly talk about the science behind the infusion that's happening. Creating infused gin involves leveraging the solvent properties of alcohol to extract flavors from botanical ingredients. Alcohol, being a powerful solvent, means it can break down and dissolve various compounds. This property allows it to extract both hydrophilic, water-loving, and hydrophobic, water-repelling compounds, dissolving both these water-soluble and aromatic oil compounds from the botanicals responsible for flavor and aroma which bond to the alcohol itself. This is crucial for capturing and preserving the volatile compounds that contribute to the unique taste and scent of all our botanicals. The duration of soaking is essential, and the longer the ingredients are left in the alcohol, the more time there is for that solvent property to extract and bond with flavor compounds. This results in a more intense and complex flavor profile. Understanding this process and the balance between time and infusion of both the water-soluble and the aromatic oil compounds within the botanicals will allow you to experiment with the different ratios of botanicals, as well as the time that you allow them to infuse or steep in the alcohol. Impatient as ever, I had to see what it tasted like at 24 hours. So I cracked open a jar and I tasted the gin just a little premature. That's gin. That's actually really nice. The horseradish does give it something. That's just a really good gin. It's very craft ginny though. Like when you buy a craft gin, this is what you expect. Good. I think it can do with more flavor, so we're gonna go all the way to 36. And I mean, you can see the color. This is the color at 24 hours. After 36 hours, I strained off the jars. We are now a week and a half in the future. So what I want to do now is I want to compare the pepper to our horseradish, because I have had the gin without the cucumber and I think that the cucumber adds some really nice character to the gin, although it tastes absolutely fine without it if you're not a big cucumber fan. So let's crack our gins. I'm going to try without the horseradish first, because I actually tried the horseradish at the 24 hours. Oh, it's a juniper forward, really nice. It's just full of botanicals, which is exactly what we're after. That's our color. It's a really well hydrated urine color. Ooh, that's way spicier than I remember the horseradish being, but I only tried the horseradish at 24, so that's completely different. Definitely getting orange in this. I'm not sure how much the orange is actually contributing to the color, because I didn't make one without the orange. So that will be an interesting experiment for the future. I would very much like a lemon version of this. There's definitely orange zest flavoring. So if you prefer lemon, obviously go with lemon. I'm getting the Angelica root come through in that too. It's that earthiness, and the coriander's interacting with it nicely. I can't find the cardamom. Oh, it's there. This is lovely. The cucumber's less pronounced with the pepperiness. So let's try the horseradish version. Oh, that's completely different. That is just, I did not expect that. It's more subtle. That is beautiful. Okay, let's see what it tastes like. I think that actually tastes more premium. Like, it's a smoother gin. And I've got the cucumber coming through. It kind of lets all the other flavors come through and show themselves. That's so interesting. Oh, that is incredibly smooth. That's harsh in comparison, which is super surprising, because that is just 3 peppercorns compared to, well, it's 2 leaves of horseradish. I'm going to go with the horseradish hands down. That is just lovely. So, okay, so there's one more thing. Tonic. That is lovely. It's actually subtle enough that it allows all the flavor of the tonic, a decent quality tonic, to actually mingle with the complexity of all of those ingredients that we've put into our gin. Yeah, that's great. I honestly didn't think that there'd be that much difference between our peppercorns and our horseradish, but all right, peppercorn gin. This might be interesting, because now that it's watered down, it's still pretty bloody good. So if you cannot get your hands on horseradish, don't stress. You're gonna end up with a really nice gin. But if you can, go for it. And you know what this means. This means that I'm gonna have to make more, because the moment this uploads, all my mates are gonna be like, Hooch, Hooch. So because the jars were such a success and I really enjoyed them, you would have seen that earlier in the video while I was discussing the aromatic compounds as well as alcohol's job as a solvent that we infuse them within, I created this. This is another 5 liters and we are at 24 hours for this one. I'll leave the recipe in the description per liter of gin, and you can create this yourself at home. Well, I hope you've enjoyed this episode of All the Gear, and I hope I've given you some good ideas. Happy infusing, and I will see you next time.